Now I'd like to introduce to you a plant called Tapioca. It's one of those that definitely should be on my list of plants that are gonna feed the world. It's that big giant wall behind me, and it's called Tapioca, of course, and I wanted to show you what kind of vegetables you can get from it. It's almost like potato, tastes really amazingly. I really like the taste. And it grows off the stem, and this one here now is just an example. It's about 4 months old, 3-4 months old. This is about 6 months old, which would be about roughly the same age as that one behind me. And at 9 months age you get quite big ones, about 4, maybe 5 of those growing off the sides, and it's just a really, you know, fully abundant plant that you can actually use for growing. I'm getting eaten by ants, these tiny little black ones. They're really, oh wow, they have a sting in them. Anyway, okay, without further ado, let me show you how to grow it and a few tips that I learned from an old Indian farmer. He's like 80, he doesn't speak any English, and he just showed me how to do it properly. Alright, so step number 1, we have to saw off the length of stem, which is usually harvested after about 9 months, as I mentioned already. And then you can store this stem for up to about 3 months in the shade, and you replant it then and you get your 12 months cycle, if that makes sense. And you need to cut it off into about lengths that long. I have gotten away with shorter ones, but the longer ones seem to do better. Also select the thickest ones possible if you can. That really helps. Right, so you just need to make sure that you cut between those 2 nodules here. The reason being is because this is where you will get either the root coming out or you'll get the leaves coming out. And if you cut too close to this, which you'll see in a minute, it kind of messes things up. So that's all there is to it. I find the hacksaw really easy. It's a very soft wood, and you just cut like such. Right, step number 2, very simple. You take the bottom end. You know where the bottom end is because all the pointy bits, which were the old branches, are pointing upwards. And you have to make a rim all the way around. And this is what the old farmer was showing me, because a lot of people around here just stick them into the ground. And even though that works well too, what this does is it prevents any of the roots, as far as I can tell, because I couldn't tell what he was saying, but I've had great success if you look at that wall of Tapioca. And it prevents, I imagine, all the roots from coming out here, because the tendency is that the roots would come out here, and he was indicating we want the roots to come out of here. So that's kind of what that does. I'm new to tapioca growing, so if any of you, especially, I believe you can grow it in Florida, if any of you know like any tips and tricks on tapioca growing, please throw it in the comment section. I'd love to learn more about it. I think it's a beautiful plant, so please do add your comments, ideas, and your knowledge as well. Okay, so now it's time to plant our tapioca sticks, and you'll notice here I have some mounds already planted up. I'm just going to replace some of these that didn't make it. The reason I'm doing mounds is because it's going to be like a nightmare trying to get the tapioca roots out of like level or even ground, and so it just makes a lot of sense to have these kind of mounds. Some of the locals just kind of do rounded mounds. I just tend to do long ones now. I don't know why, but it seems to work just fine. Plus the other reason is all the nutrients here on the path, I can just add them to the mound and I'll just get a lot more kind of harvest that way. If I had more compost, I'd probably use it there. I just finished making my compost heap. It's amazing if you've been watching some of my older videos. But I'm kind of tending to put them where the crops kind of need it the most, like pumpkins and all those kind of things. Okay, without further ado, let's plant away. Right, so this is then the one that didn't make it. It was very thin stick and it's just no good. And all I got to do is plant to the depth of this first nodule here. I just loosen the soil a little bit more, or sand, and I just go like that. And Bob's your uncle. That's all you got to do. That's it. Now I'm going to try some where I'm going to plant them a lot deeper as well. I want to, you know, figure out what is the best kind of optimal planting for it. But that's what the old guy showed me, so I'm going along with that. Oh, look at that. This one unfortunately broke off, but it'll be even bigger. Look at the size of those. Amazing. Alright, so just from 10 plants, which is this little row here behind me, I got all these tapioca. I think that's about 800 grams of tapioca. Look at the size of that tapioca. Now they're still young, but I'm really, really satisfied with my harvest. And I'm actually really starting to like eating tapioca, so I'm really pleased. Really a crop you can feed the world with.